Welcome to Cyber Materials Ask Me Anything Cyber, a fun, interactive weekly event for everything cybersecurity. Join us every week at noon Eastern Time for a high-energy, quick-hit recap of the week's biggest cyber stories, from data breaches and threat intel to major legal updates. Whether it's a high-profile hack, a new APT on the rise, or a must-attend summit, we've got it covered. But that's not all. We'll also break down the latest job market trends, share our thoughts on cyber stocks, and give you actionable insights to stay ahead. And of course, we wrap things up with what makes this show special: live Q&A with you. Have a question about a breach? Want to know how a threat works? Curious about getting started in cyber? Let us know and we'll answer it live. Without further ado, let's get this event started.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Ask Me Anything Cyber. I know after a brief hiatus, we are finally back. I'm here with Prapti. How are you?
I'm good, Sophie. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I know we've missed you all, and I want to know how everybody's doing today. So leave your comments on the chat. And Prapti, today we have a really interesting topic and an amazing guest. We all seen all the VPN commercials promising to keep us safe online with just one click.
hmm
But as cybersecurity professionals, we know the reality is much more complicated, right?
Yeah.
VPNs are an important security tool, but they are far from perfect. And in some cases, they can even become part of the attack surface. So, today we're going to be separating the marketing from the reality as we explored what modern organizations should be thinking about instead, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct on that. And we are slowly heading into more a remote work environment because it increases work-life balance, productivity, time flexibility, but it also increases a lot of other things like attack surfaces. Applications are now moving, into cloud, and attackers are now increasingly targeting the
True.
remote infrastructure. So it raises a very important question. The traditional infrastructure is no longer, there, and it's slowly fading away. So what does it actually look like? What does security actually look like today?
Yeah, and exactly that. Today, we're diving into that big question: what happens when the very tool designed to protect your network becomes the attacker's front door? And to help us answer that question, we are excited to welcome Julia Kushner. She's the CEO of Spiral Networks. Welcome, Julia, to Ask Me Anything Cyber. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me today. Nice seeing you guys.
Yes, and we are very excited to learn more about your perspective on what VPNs are doing to the cybersecurity environment right now. And, we've trusted VPNs for decades, right? To securely connect remote workers or even to secure attack surface points. What has changed and where are we suddenly heading that, like hearing that VPNs have become one of the biggest targets for attackers?
Honestly, nothing really has changed with VPN itself.
Hmm.
Um, and I can tell you throughout my career, I had countless conversations with the security leaders. But there's one specific discussion that kind of stood with me with one of the CEO of a major client that he shared with me the story that literally keeps him up at night. Yeah, and I know Prasha said that there's a lot of offshore and outsourcing these days,
True.
and with the remote work, we started to collaborate with a lot of remote workers. And one of the example that CISO shared was that he has, there was one of the agency employee has been working with the remote worker for about a week, and one
Yeah.
afternoon he noticed that something was just different.
Off. Yeah.
Something was off, right? Like the accent changed, the dialect completely changed, and the bottom line, it was a completely different human
Yeah.
being behind the keyboard. Yes. And what was interesting that the corporate user ID and MFA talking and any active session remain identical.
Yeah.
Uh, the security dashboard did not pick up absolutely anything. There was nothing wrong. And what was the most terrifying part was that that remote worker was using the corporate issue laptop with
Mm-hmm.
active VPN.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by doing that, it extended the company's security perimeter right into that unverified and untrusted room that was like halfway across the world. And
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
right, and because the digital session stayed open,
And
that
normal. Mm-hmm.
became right. The computer didn't pick it up.
Yeah.
Somebody entered, somebody put the credentials, everything was great. And it became like a wide open background door to all the corporate network. So the traditional security was completely blind. And why? Do you know why?
Hmm.
Because it was an approved VPN.
Because our
Yeah.
industry spent billions of dollars learning how to trust credentials instead of really verifying the human.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
to answer your original question about what really changed in VPN, the answer is nothing. Nothing changed.
Mm-hmm.
At
Mhm.
its core, the VPN is just an encrypted tunnel that was designed to protect data in transit. And it
Mhm.
was never designed to secure the perimeter, right?
Yeah.
That's
It was
yeah.
designed to grant access through it.
That is such an interesting story.
And that's a
Yeah. And
fundamental problem that
yeah.
if user or the device on another end compromise, that
Mm-hmm.
VPN is like an open door to
Yeah.
everything, to the
Yeah.
entire
Mhm.
security stack.
Yeah, actually, a couple of
Yeah.
months ago, we had a guest that had infiltrated the North Korean workforce.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was because on of an unauthorized VPN that they were able to infiltrate this company because they were hired as an employee and they were using actually employee credentials, but they were actually insiders. So I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, and the story was so interesting because lately I joined like a podcast and I was listening to them speak. The host was talking about like how attackers don't really need something fancy. They are scanning for like the human flaw, and
Yeah.
humans are involved in like every aspect of it, and especially with unmanaged devices and applications everywhere and users connecting daily, it kind of becomes like the human flaw that the attackers are scanning. So, what do you think, Julia? What are the new security challenges that creates now for the security teams?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And with the widespread remote work and people travel,
Mm-hmm.
we, in our field, we use a lot global outsourcing. So it becomes just incredibly distributed. But in the process, what happened that we lost the control of our physical assets,
Yeah.
and as we lost visibility into these devices, that our default reaction was to find the solution for a VPN. So all the bells and whistles were put to protect the device. And in doing that, we actually extended our corporate network right at our weakest link. And here's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that, and I'm sure that Sophie can relate to it. That the thing that cybersecurity nobody wants to talk about is that that we built an industry, entire industry around verifying a single moment in time, right?
That's
You
true.
log in, you're in, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then the system trusts you forever. But so I give you example. If you log in at 9 o'clock and you're sitting in your office, you're sitting in a coffee shop, you can be on a
Mm-hmm.
train, you can be in an airport, right? You have no idea that maybe somebody with that laptop can just cross the international borders in a few hours, right? It does
Mm-hmm.
not matter, right? The system just check the box.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're logged in, it stops paying attention. And this is exactly where we see the downfall. So, because of that moment after you log in, and the person at the keyboard can change at any time, and you have
Yeah.
no idea. Once the and this is where the problem with the credential stealing. Once you log in, you're in, right? This
Mm-hmm.
system does not recognize if the laptop in a different country, that it completely different legal jurisdictions. So
Yeah.
all those VPNs that we thought we can trust, right? And that is basically a secure tunnel to handing. We are now using that VPN as a tunnel to hand the data to anybody who's watching another site, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and I give you another example of let's say you have somebody sitting at a coffee shop, right? Or they log in, they go for coffee refill, the station is still open, right? And it's funny because a few days ago, I just read on LinkedIn, I saw a post somebody posted who
Mm-hmm.
was on the train going to London, and somebody next to him was working on the computer just like a lot of remote workers do. And then all of a sudden he left the computer open with the working session. He went for the bathroom break in a train full of people, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
one of the that's just another example
Yeah.
for cybersecurity people.
Mm-hmm.
We know the danger of it. So
And you can just solve that by locking your computer. And that's such a human behavior there.
right,
So
absolutely.
it's
So
not the
all
VPNs, it's not the credentials, it's the human always.
right, you're absolutely right. And but all of those different symptoms or scenarios, they all have the same root cause, that security checks it once and
Mm-hmm.
then it
Yeah,
assumes
and that's it.
forever that it's the same person, right? So
Yeah.
There's
if,
no more like security checkups or
right,
anything that can
right.
verify that
So
the
if
person
they
that got access is the actual person, right?
Yeah, the physical asset is completely removed from the scenario.
right. So if the entire defense strategy depends on that,
Well,
that trust, that nobody switches the seats, that
Mm-hmm.
nobody crossing the borders, nobody stepping away for a coffee or bathroom
yeah.
break,
Hmm.
and that we all assume that we went through the policy trainings and we're gonna
Yeah.
follow it and without bending the rules. So what you really have is the house of cards, and it's
Yeah.
just a matter of time when somebody knocks it over.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what should, in your opinion, organizations should look forward to now, and how does spiral networks come into play and into solving this problem?
Right. So, a lot of people say that security perimeters change, right? But in the reality, the truth is that the security perimeters didn't go away. They didn't
Hmm.
change. They expanded.
Yeah.
And with the modern AI capabilities, like the initial compromise at the very edge of your network is it's practically given. You have the open door, so you
Yeah.
just can people can just walk in, but leaving that back door wide open is like simply you're asking for trouble.
Hmm.
And what we need to do is, in my opinion, is to focus on fixing the identity and applying foundational security principles,
Okay.
because those principles, those fundamentals still work even in the age of AI.
Yeah.
And I know you asked how Spiral Networks is addressing it. So the way we were able, we're working through this is we partner with two incredible firms to
Mm-hmm.
build a one single unified stack that closes every loophole. So from the entry point to the end point, right? That there's no door on any entrance or exit. We call it SNI null edge. And so instead of wasting time and trying to secure that persistent and vulnerable device, what the null edge does, it integrates different level, like layers, that makes the edge completely irrelevant. Okay, and I give you examples. So what I'm talking about, the entry door is that continuous identity assurance, and that is powered by the tool, the company called Spy Alert. And what I love the most about it is their core philosophy. That's what originally got my attention, was that you are your identity, not your
Hmm.
device, right?
Yeah.
And it's back to what Sophie was saying, that it's a human-centric approach, right? It's the person, you have to trust the person who's behind the screen. So to
Hmm.
solve that identity swap or the dialect change or breaks to leave
Mm-hmm.
and open, um, we eliminated that point in time login entirely, right? So the spy alert provides continuous facial biometric verification to reconfirm that the authorized user is physically present every single second, right? So if somebody steps away or somebody looks different direction, or if there is a shoulder surfing,
Yeah.
or um, it just protects it. What it does, it locks in front of you, right? It locks the minute you walk away.
Automatically.
It locks, right? So your entry door, unless you're the right person, your entry door is closed, right? That brings me to the exit door, and we call it the uh, ephemeral substring. And that is powered by a great company that we partner in. It's called Silas. So they developed the Silas Zero Core operational system. And
Mm-hmm.
you know how the traditional laptops accumulate malware, configuration drift, and cache credentials over time. So with zero core, the device is completely clean. It's cryptographically verified image every single time, right? So your entrance is protected,
Mm-hmm.
and then throughout the entire session, the moment the session ends, the entire operating system is completely
Wow.
destroyed. It destroyed. So there's no log, there's no session tokens, there's no cache
Mm-hmm.
passwords. The attacker, so even if the device is stolen, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's really absolutely nothing. The device has no valid target, right? So, and this
Right.
is what the spiral networks kind of put it all together as one solution. As a trusted partner, we're able to bring it all together into one cohesive ecosystem. And because Silas Zero Trust is completely stateless, and spy alert is continuously verifying the human,
Mm-hmm.
your corporate assets, your IM, your SSO never have to be exposed in the first place. So
Yeah.
it stays where it needs to stay, where it is strongest. It's locked
Mm-hmm.
and it's untouched within the corporation.
So, for those watching at home, and if you want to learn more about Zero Trust, last year we have an Ask Me Anything Cyber with Eugene Kushner, which is also the cybersecurity person expert of Spiral Network. So, if you want to learn more, you can go back to last year and check our Ask Me Anything Cyber to know more about how they are implementing Zero Trust. So, now this question is like very specific. So if you want to single out one specific mistake that you are seeing that organizations are making when it becomes to securing remote access, what would it be? Yeah. Hello, can you hear us?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry. Can you repeat the question? I think
Yeah.
I
So
lost.
okay, so if you have to single out one mistake that you see organizations are making when it comes to securing remote access, what would this mistake be?
Um, I have to think about it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because companies are so heavily dependent on VPNs, right? And it is kind of like with more devices connecting and people working globally from all around the world. So it's like connected to VPN. So there have to be like mistakes. For example, they are not telling people about,
Yeah.
you don't should not leave your device unattended. And
Yeah.
one compromise can lead to several compromises. And what I really like about Spiral Network is that it has the ability to uh, facial scan, recognize the user, and at the same time keep it secure through and through the entire system, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
and mhm. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah, and I think when VPNs, you know, in the future, the way I see it, that the VPN will continue to have a role, right? It
Hmm.
will still, but the role is going to be smaller and smaller. And it's no longer going to be the baseline of the user access. So
Mm-hmm.
where VPNs must evolve, I think, is in transport security and
Yeah.
resilience.
Yeah.
And I think specifically preparing for the quantum era,
Mm-hmm.
right? And as quantum computing advance, I do think that traditional encryption is going to face massive threat levels.
Mm-hmm.
And the VPN in the future, we need to evolve just to keep data safe for next
Yeah.
generation threats.
Yeah.
Okay?
And maybe think about VPNs as like credentials, I can say, because at the end of the day, VPNs are a credential. So I feel like sometimes companies they are not treating VPNs like a point of entry or like a credential issue, and they're just like considering like a
Right.
connectivity
Yeah, too.
thing, like a tool. But at the end of the day, they should be treated as a credential. So
Yeah.
if your employee lost access or their credentials get stolen, anybody can access your network because they have access to your VPN credentials. So maybe I
Absolutely.
feel that that will be sort of like a mistake. Companies maybe are overseeing, I can say.
Yeah.
They're not considering like VPNs as a real issue, like losing access to password or even leaking credentials online. Some companies they may be affected by data breaches, and they may have listed all the credentials, VPN credentials, keys, and access and everything, and that's one of the mistakes they may be making, probably, not
Yeah.
considering them as a credential issue, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it's almost like the VPN, uh, you know, the job description of VPN is just changing dramatically,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah.
right, it's shifting from being like a gateway into the company to a more highly specialized and secure pipe to move
Yeah,
data.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true, that's true.
And now AI is in the mix. AI can one of the most pressing matters is that it can create videos that are extremely realistic and can convince anybody, almost anybody,
Yeah.
fool anybody. So AI is making, I think, attackers more faster and efficient. So how do you see AI changing the way attackers target VPNs and remote access infrastructure?
So the AI is actually not changing the fundamental nature of
Mhm.
cybersecurity. It's just, in my opinion, amplifying our existing failures in security because it's so fast
Mhm.
working. And to fight it, our defensive strategy has to shift, I think, more to proactive model, right? So we need to reduce our attack surface instead of expanding it. So the attack surface is definitely, we need to have more control of it.
Mhm.
Um, we need to fix the actual identity fabric for security instead of just building the friction for our users. And
That's true.
Mhm.
and then I do strongly believe that when we create the architecture, we have to automatically assume that we will be breached. So we have to
Yeah.
create
Yeah,
that, right. So we're
unfortunately.
exactly. So this is exactly what we have been using it in spiral networks, and we have a lot of people, staff with DoD attack experience, and they're bringing a lot of those, red teaming skills with the. So that's the model that I think how we can work with the AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know like we're running out of time, and this is such an interesting topic, and one
That's
of our
okay. I'll
our
actually.
questions, and we have one of in our one of our chats, we have a question from one of the audience. They are asking, our company still relies heavily on VPNs, and replacing them isn't realistic in the short term,
Mm.
and what is the single most important thing they can do today to make their VPN environment more resilient?
I think, like I mentioned before, I think it's important uh, to I call it zero trust, human centric approach. You have
Mm-hmm.
to educate your staff. You have to empower them, and with continuous the verification, the biometric verification. I think it will help to protect that. I don't think you can change the uh, what VPN does. um,
Yeah,
Still, the job is still needs to be done somehow, but I think that the goal will be to protect it from the entry point, like I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So
mm-hmm.
look more into that, to make sure who is the person behind the keyboard. How can you protect your corporate data just by not letting somebody go in. Once they're in,
Mm-hmm.
it's much harder to do it, right? So the goal is not to make it easy for them to get in.
That's
I
good.
hope
That's
I
Yeah.
great.
hope that.
Yes, yes,
It does. Like, it
absolutely.
means that even if there's no physical verification, we still know that it is actually the employee behind the keyboard.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly, because, like I said, the human century. There's still people behind those computers, and no
Mm-hmm.
matter uh, how we use the AI, we still need to always rely on AI. Will never be able to replace the human intuition, the creativity, and
Mm-hmm.
the reasoning. The reasoning, that's what, it can learn, but
Well, not yet. We don't
it's
know. What do you know what is gonna happen in 5 years?
it, it's going with the speed of light, yes.
I know, right?
uh,
Yeah.
but I
So
do think that nothing
yeah,
can replace that human behind the computer.
yeah. And at the end of the day, it's humans that are creating everything and they are protecting their assets. So it will
Absolutely.
always be human to human somehow.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So it was great having you today, Julia. I'm really excited to get to know a little bit more about Spy Alert. So anybody that wants to reach out to Julia, she's available on LinkedIn. You can also visit their website, Spiral Networks, and of course, anybody can also reach out to us to learn more about what we're doing at Ask Me Anything Cyber and watch our previous episode about Zero Trust with Spiral Networks cyber expert last year that we had with Eugene Kushner. Thank you, Julia, so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Same, same. Talk
Bye
to
bye.
you soon. Bye
Bye bye.
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 So
That
that
was,
was Julia,
yeah.
yeah, from Spiral Networks. It was an interesting conversation about VPNs and the new attack surface and how uh, we trust some tools and they are used against us,
Yeah.
and how to find some solutions and how to patch those things. And that's great because one of our headlines today for this cyber briefing is about US sanctioned VPNs.
Oh.
And I'm really excited to dig into that. But before, we have our best segment yet, right?
Yes, we're going to talk about Know Your Enemy, where you're going to inform us about what we should be looking out for, the general public we should be aware of. So let's get into it with a short video.
Every cyber attack has a face, from malware and scams to the actors behind them. Know your enemy. Stay one step ahead.
So it's been quite some time. I can say that we haven't had a Know Your Enemy section.
Yeah.
And today, I'm sort of like excited to talk about this one because it's what is called Giga Wiper.
Okay.
And as you can split that word into is giga big wiper,
Yeah.
you know what it means. It's being called around the Swiss army knife of malware. And this is a new enemy that we wanted to call it like when malware doesn't have to choose between espionage and destruction, it does everything. So I know, are you ready? I know, right? So today I wanted to talk about this new threat that's blurring the lines between cyber espionage, ransomware, and destructive attacks, and it's called Giga Wiper. When when we think about malware, we tend to put it in a few categories, right? We talk about like ransomware that
Yeah,
encrypts your files, spyware that are stealing your data,
yeah.
and a wiper that sort of destroys your system. It doesn't encrypt it, it just wipes it out. But what if one piece of malware is doing all three? So that's exactly what Giga Wiper is doing right now, and that's why it's really
Wow.
interesting. Now, researchers have uncovered this new malware, which has been linked to the Iranian threat group known as Cyber Avengers. And instead of focusing on a single objective, GigaWiper appears to be built as a modular toolkit that's giving attackers multiple options depending on what's their goals. Now,
Mm-hmm.
here is a quick timeline so we can understand when this malware appeared. Um, this has been a research by Microsoft research team, and they first observed GigaWiper being used in real world attacks last year in October. Now, at that time, it was already operating as a backdoor with destructive capabilities, giving attackers a long term access. So, this was the spyware feature of this malware
Wow.
before they decided what to do, if they were going to encrypt or they were going to wipe. Now, on back forward to a week ago, July 9, 2026, the Microsoft Threat Intelligence, they publicly released its technical analysis, revealing that this malware wasn't just a wiper or a spyware. It was a modular toolkit capable of espionage, remote access, encryption, and data destruction. Now, within days, I know, I know you want to say something because it's like really worrisome, right? They were able to
Yeah.
create this
It
modular
touches all
malware.
bases.
Yeah, and now within days, the security researchers, around the world, they began analyzing and calling it an example of the next generation of malware. It is flexible, it's adaptable, and is capable of changing its mission during the attack, which is very worrisome because it's a malware created as as it says, a Swiss Army knife. It has everything. So whatever you want to use, you can have it, you can use it. Now,
Yeah.
first, these like type of malware, they encrypt files like a ransomware,
Mm-hmm.
and it will just disrupt the company's operation. Now, second, it can also wipe data. It will just permanently destroy files, which will make recovery, I can say,
Difficult. Yeah.
and like ransomware, where victims might hope for restore after they decrypt the files, or after they pay for the decryption key, a wiper is designed to leave nothing behind. So there's no hope. It's just like a
Yeah.
weapon, I can say. Now, that's only one part of the story. Now, GigaWiper also includes the espionage capabilities. The researchers, they also observe a feature that allows them to collect system information. Like, I don't know, they capture screenshots, they are recording the victim screen, and even sometimes providing remote access through
Wow.
a virtual network computer or VNC component. Now, it's not like a VPN, but it sort of acts like a remote access connectivity. Now,
Yeah.
other words, whoever has access to GigaWiper, they don't have to choose between spying or disrupting operations. They can do
Mm.
in once. So this is a huge discovery by Microsoft research team. And for those out there, is not attacking individuals, of course. It's attacking, they are not like leveraging everyday users, but they are attacking government agencies, critical
Mm-hmm.
infrastructure, energy companies, large enterprises. But the thing is, this tool, it's can be like
Adaptable.
distributed to other cybercrime groups, and in the
Mm,
future can attack regular users. But
yeah.
of today, which is July 16, 2026, they haven't been cases of individuals or regular users or end users affected by this new malware, only large corporations and government entities. Now,
Yeah.
what your organizations can do, mostly the usual, I can say, monitor unusual scheduled tasks, persistent mechanism, unexpected remote access activity, um, like, and of course, keep systems patched and educate users about phishing, because never underestimate phishing awareness.
Yeah.
So Giga Wiper is sort of reminding us that modern malware isn't confined to a single category. It can do all three at once: steal information, disrupt operations, and destroy evidence, all within the same attack. So,
Yeah. And yeah, that would be very hard to trace because it's destroying
yeah.
everything on the way.
Yeah, and for those watching at home, I want to hear your thoughts on how we can protect against this new malware. What can we do to sort of raise awareness for organizations, for regular users? I would like to hear more from you guys.
Yeah, we would love to know your thoughts. And do you remember, Sophie, the
Hmm.
other day we were talking about know your enemy, and we talked about how attackers are now skipping steps
Yep,
and they are just going straight forward to
exactly.
extortion and asking for the
Yeah,
money, and they don't even care about encrypting it anymore. And now it seems that they can do everything, and
yeah,
it shows how it is evolving every day,
yeah,
step by step, and defenders should try to keep up with it. So definitely, we
yeah.
would like to hear your thoughts on how the defenders of cybersecurity can keep up with this, use AI maybe in creative ways to find a solution. And thank you, Sophie, so much for
No
sharing
problem.
this. This
And
segment was
everybody
very
should keep
useful.
an eye on their inbox because the full article about Chica Wiper is coming out on Saturday. Because we don't have like the newsletter for the cyber briefing because it's during the week. On Saturday, you can read our article about Chica Wiper and what it is all about. And I want to hear all your comments and see how we can fight this new malware and
Mhm.
not let them land in the wrong hands.
Yeah. For now, I believe that if we can only think about a couple of steps, hopefully the audience can help us understand the other angles to approach this problem. And thank you, Sophie, so much for sharing this. Looking forward to reading the article on Saturday. And right now, let's talk about the cyber briefing because we do have headlines that we would like to discuss. So let's watch a quick video about what cyber briefing truly is.
A new cyber briefing is here. Same essential insights, now with sharper headlines and a much better flow. Get the latest on the threat landscape, incidents, and the real-world impact with executive risk and cybernomics trends. Stay informed on new policies, numbers, and the latest moves for your career in cyber. Whether you're on LinkedIn, Medium, or our new home on Substack, get the briefing that keeps you 2 steps ahead. Check out the refreshed edition and subscribe today.
So, today, talking about VPNs, our first headline, it's about US sanctions, VPN, aiding ransomware gangs. So, this isn't a report about one specific malware or one hacker
Yeah.
group. It's about a report from Reversing Labs. Um, and we are talking about today about I'm sorry, I sort of got confused. We're talking about the UX sanctions VPN
Mm-hmm.
80 somewhere gangs, which is very important. And it's about the US Treasury, actually, Office of Foreign Assets and Control, announced sanctions against a VPN provider called First VPN Service or One VPNs, and they
Okay.
have sanctioned their administrators, Dmitry Rashevsky, and a Belarusian developer named Yevgeny Silayev, who sold malware obfuscation tools known as cryptors. So, what is
Okay.
the big deal here today? Because ransomware isn't just hackers sitting in a basement anymore.
Yeah.
It's always know it's an entire criminal ecosystem. Now, A ransomware group needs infrastructure to hide where they are connecting from, servers to manage stolen data, tools to make their malware invisible, payment system, access brokers. So, in other words, cybercrime has its own supply chain. And the
Mm-hmm.
US government decided that those companies that they are their supply chains are the ones aiding these ransomware gangs. Now,
Definitely.
we're talking about the VPNs per se. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not like VPNs are bad, but in this case, these companies are aiding or helping businesses, like they sort of build their business around cyber crime. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what these companies were doing, they were hiding the origin of the attacks, they were deploying ransomware, and they were even managing the stolen data after the breaches. Now, the
Wow.
entire business model was working under the umbrella of commercial VPNs, like legitimate commercial VPNs.
Mm-hmm.
Their underground business, like it was aiding these ransomware gangs. So it's like it's like these organizations were helping tunnel or fund or even helping cybercrime groups like
Yeah.
perform their attacks.
Gain access and perform attacks. I'm so glad that this got to light. This came to light because this way we now know that we should really watch out and learn about the VPNs that we use and make reasonable choices. And this is why a report like the cyber briefing is so important, because now at least we know that there are VPNs out there that can actually aid attackers instead of helping you.
Yeah.
So if you are interested, anybody who is viewing, all you have to do is scan the QR code, and the cyber briefing will be delivered right in your inbox, and you will know everything and anything about the cybersecurity world, all headlines covered. So, Sophie, would you like to talk about an incident or something that had a real
Hmm.
world impact?
Yes. So for our next cyber headline, it's about the AWS CloudFront outage. That it happened yesterday and early in the morning today, and it has disrupted multiple service for a lot of companies. So this is not about hackers; it's just about a cyber incident that one specific cloud provider was affected, and we're able to impact thousands of organizations around the
Yeah.
world. In this case, we're talking about Amazon Web Services, their CloudFront service. They experience an outage, and specifically, users also using VPC origins. Now, what it means is that it's normally it's called CloudFront, and it sits between you and the website, and it's delivering the content quickly, securely. But there's this new version, VPC Origins, and
Okay.
this feature allows companies to keep their application hidden inside private networks, while CloudFront securely serves them to the public. So
Okay.
what it sort of works like, let's say CloudFront is your receptionist,
Mm-hmm.
and the application is in a secure office behind locked doors, but this receptionist lets you safely retrieve information about your website and letting visitors inside one by one, sort of
Yeah.
vetting your visitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the problem it was that there was a packet processing subsystem issue, and it was
Mm-hmm.
the component responsible for routing traffic from CloudFront to these applications. And there was a issue, and they start failing. And instead of reaching the application, CloudFront was returning 503 or 5x errors, which basically means I tried to get your request, I tried to give you access, but there's something wrong back there. We cannot give you access right now.
Okay.
So the users saw the websites like they couldn't load. And it matters because all these big companies, for example, like Hugging Face, the UK National Lottery, or even
Wow.
like online games like Fallout 76, they were among the victims that they had issue with the CloudFront. Now,
Yeah.
this is not about malware. This is not about ransomware. This was not a DDoS attack.
Yeah.
May look like, right? Because for the customer perspective, you don't know exactly. The website is
Exactly.
unavailable, so you sort of assume something cybercrime may happen. But in this case, was a resilience issue, and we know that security and having a resilient application, they are both important. And
Yeah.
but just to know out there to people, it's not that those websites were down because they were part of a ransomware attack, so you have to be concerned about a data breach or
Yeah.
something. No, it was just a CloudFront outage, and
Yeah.
that's why you were not able to access the websites.
Yeah, it's like a disruption in operations, and I think people should be aware of that and not, come to the conclusion that they are going to get hacked and that there is a
Yeah,
data breach.
yeah.
Moving forward to a threat that was there in the cyber briefing, what is your top headline?
So this is about what we've been talking about a lot about click fix,
Yeah.
the social engineering ecosystem. This was included on a cyber briefing on the threats and alerts part that everybody should be aware of. And this is not about like a specific hacker group. It's about a report from Reversing Labs looking at one of the biggest trends and the biggest threats and alerts that we are seeing across the cybersecurity landscape, which is
Mhm.
the explosion of click fix attacks.
Yes.
So, why does it matter and why we are talking about in the thread part of our cyber briefing is because cybersecurity researchers are not talking about this enough. And they're just like, oh, this is just another phishing campaign.
Mhm.
It's like they're saying the way attackers are getting initial access is changing, so we need to keep an eye on these evolution of phishing attacks. So
Yeah.
instead of exploiting a software vulnerability in this case, the attackers are exploiting human trust, and we know this
Mhm.
is not new because we know that humans are the weakest point.
Yep.
But they are creating a sense of um, like scare or distrust that you see, like fake browser errors, for example, Cloudflare checks when you go to a website and it's trying to, like you have to fill up a captcha or solve a
Yeah.
captcha, and or fake IT support pages that convince users to run commands on their own computer, or even hijacking like TikTok influencers to
Yes.
tell them to update their software, and they are paying them. So this is a whole social engineering ecosystem, and researchers have called it the click fix
Yeah.
social engineering technique. So it's going beyond the regular phishing attack that we've been used
Yeah.
to. It's an entire ecosystem of attacks, and as
Yeah.
you can see on the image that we have here, it's malvertising,
Yeah.
SEO poisoning, fake updates, fake captchas, phishing, and IT lures. So it's a combination. That's why
Wow.
they are calling it an ecosystem. And what it does is mostly it's like the save, like don't click is not safe anymore. Because in this case,
Yeah.
it's not a type of squatting or a hijack website. It's mostly about tricking you into trusting something, and
Yeah.
then you do it voluntarily. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's exploiting the human trust and a whole campaign based out just to
Exactly.
exploit you.
So, for example, this is just an example on how they operate, right? You visit a website, you said, oh, your browser has an error, you get a pop up. You have to
Yeah.
complete the verification, CAPTCHA solving, whatever. Oh
Yeah.
no, Cloudflare detected a suspicious activity. To continue, please press Windows R and paste this command and hit enter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So anybody that doesn't understand how computer works, if you click
exactly.
Windows key plus R, you open the run command system of your computer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're pasting a specific command to use a browser, like there's if you understand how a computer works, it doesn't make sense. But if you
Exactly.
don't, you just go for it because you wanted to visit the website and you just wanted to go through it, right?
Yeah, and I think this would affect employees because employees are just looking for a way to solve a problem. So they're probably just thinking that, oh, okay, this is an IT problem. I'm just going to quickly solve it by doing what the screen is telling me to do.
Exactly. And here's the catch. It's like you are not downloading malware. You are installing it yourself
Yeah.
with, so that's the change of what's happening before,
Mm,
and that's why they are calling it an ecosystem, because it's a lot of like entry points on how they trick the human. And why should organizations care? And as you were saying, because you said like employees sometimes they are like not paying attention, they try to do it
mhm.
fast. So that's why security awareness training has to evolve. Is not the regular phishing awareness you click or type of squatting whatever. It's a combination of stuff.
Yeah.
So if you want to like help your employees, you should talk about this social engineering ecosystem that researchers call it click fix.
Yeah, and I think people should definitely pay more attention to it. And thank you for highlighting them in our three headlines of the week. And
Mhm.
if you guys want to know more and get everything in your inbox, make sure that you scan the QR code to join the Cyber Briefing newsletter. And it will be there on LinkedIn as well as on Substack. You'll get all stories, insights, and updates straight to your inbox. I'm looking forward to Saturday, Sophie, to know more about
Yes.
the Know Your Enemy.
Giga Wiper, yes. And the
Yes.
name is so cool, but it's not a cool malware
It's
though.
not, yeah.
But
It's
the name
it's
is really
touching on.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in 2 weeks, we're gonna have an amazing guest. His name is Jorge. He's
Okay.
gonna be talking about the cost of not knowing the cost. And I know where he's coming from. Is how companies are not aware of how much money they're gonna like spend if they
Okay.
don't invest in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to get to listen and to know more about what he has to say. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing you all in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to Jorge and I'd like to know about, how things can really cost you a lot if you're not paying attention and you're not
Yeah.
investing in the right tools. So
But
I'll see
next
you,
Thursday,
Sophie.
we still have an Ask Me Anything Cyber.
Oh,
You can join us too. All the viewers can join us. We're going to be talking about Know Your Enemy and the headlines. We're not going to have a specific guest. Summer, it's a little bit like everybody is out of vacation and they're not available. So this summer, we're taking it lightly, but we still keep having our rundown of headlines and
yes.
Know Your Enemy section. So see you all next week.
Yes, definitely. I'll see everybody next week. Looking forward to have a conversation with you on Thursday.
Thank you, Prapti, for joining us today. See you
Thank you,
next week.
Sophie. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for our next Ask Me Anything Cyber, a fun, interactive weekly event for everything cybersecurity. Join us every week at noon Eastern Time for another high-energy recap of the week's biggest cyber stories, from data breaches and threat intel to major legal updates. Whether it's a high-profile hack, a new APT on the rise, or a must-attend summit, we've got it covered. But that's not all. We'll also break down the latest job market trends, share our thoughts on cyber stocks, and give you actionable insights to stay ahead. And of course, we wrap things up with what makes this show special, live Q&A with you. Have a question about a breach? Want to know how a threat works? Curious about getting started in cyber? Let us know and we'll answer it live. See you next week.